Part 8. A858DE45F56D9BC9. In 2001, Redditors discovered a strange, obscure subreddit called R858DE45F56D9BC9. It contained nothing more than posts consisting of strings of letters and numbers. Immediately upon discovery, the site's users took to assuming the posts were a code, and a sister subreddit, R solving 8858, was opened up as the internet teamed up to crack the secret. As time went on, a few posts were solved. One decoded message contained the phrase "No to SOPA," an anti-privacy internet act which was being debated in Congress at the time. And another unveiled a series of GIFs of former vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin. Eventually, the creator of A858DE45F56D9BC9 caught on to his subreddit's fame. He, or she, or they, or it, conducted an AMA, an Ask Me Anything, with some of the code breakers, typing his answers, of course, in code. When asked for the porpoise behind it all, the decrypted answer read as follows: "We cannot disclose the porpoise. A858 will end when the porpoise is disclosed or discovered." Frustrating, yet encouraging. And so Reddit carried on, determined now more than ever to unlock the mystery of R A858DE45F56D9BC9. A few more lines of code were successfully decrypted. One message read, "Happy New Year 2001. Bits and pieces came together, and it seemed like there was new momentum for the code breakers. But still, the final answers proved elusive. For 5 years, this game of cat and mouse went on. Suddenly, in 2016, R A858DE45F56D9BC9 went private. A final uncoded message was posted to the subreddit. The A858 project has concluded. You may unsubscribe. Yes, a few pieces of code were decrypted. A few Easter eggs were uncovered. But there was never a grand porpoise revealed. No answer, no closure. People spent 5 years working on a project which effectively ended in a blue screen. Nothing lay at the end of this rainbow. My father taught me a bit of esoterica when I was little. The scientific term for seeing shapes in clouds is nephelocoxagia. It's a neat word, fun to say, and if you're in a nerdy enough company, it can be a neat party trick. For one man, Jeff Bird, it appears far more than that. He was a contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire who advanced all the way to the final question, which asked him to provide the definition of the word nephelocoxagia, a definition which he did not know. I feel like the reason why I have always remembered the meaning of this word is that it applies to the real world all too often. It is just a general statement that people see when they wish to see what they wish to see in things. Rorschach could have told you this as well. Those clouds aren't arranging themselves into the shape of your dead dog just to please you. That spattering of ink isn't an elephant, or a butterfly, or your mother screaming at you. They are arbitrary, heartless formations of water vapor or ink, and they are not sentient. They do not intend to resemble anything. Paranormal investigators like to use a device known as a spirit box, which scans between radio frequencies very quickly, creating a wall of static. They claim that spirits can speak through the box, and that you can hear their voice come through the static if they're feeling controversial or conversational. Any voice which lasts longer than a second, they say, has to be a spirit. And if you watch enough of these kinds of shows, you'll see this device capture voices time and time again. But, like our A858, like a curious cloud formation, no real meaning is ever unearthed. These shows all have to caption these voices, as if the producers know that it's all bunk and they have to lead the viewer into hearing order where there is only disorder. Is this all I'm doing? Looking for patterns in white noise? Seeing shapes in clouds? I'm trying to pick the brain of a dead man, What if the answer is as simple as Steven Hillenburg deciding to set a silly children's show in the Pacific and saw an opportunity to hide something of a double entendre under the guise of a history reference? Is that not truly Occam's razor? Or is what Steven Hillenburg intended not the question? Because here's the thing. When I look into the sky and I see the face of a dog, that doesn't mean I'm crazy. It just means my brain is doing something it's been hardwired to do. We humans are funny creatures. We are always scanning for patterns. And in these patterns we find, they tell us a lot about ourselves. The Rorschach test, though not without its critics, has proven itself a valuable tool in measuring the disorder in the thoughts of schizophrenia patients. Our A858's unsolved status is in a way more fascinating than any revolution which it could be hiding. Would it be half as interesting today if it had been solved in 2011? The spirit box... okay, well that's just bunk, but the point is clear. It's not about building a tower tall enough to hear the voice of God. It's not about what its creators intended. In a way, there are millions of bikini bottoms, all these various parts assembling in different orders within our heads, creating a picture unique to all of us, always colored by our own biases, our own experiences and beliefs. You will be hard-pressed to find many kids who empathize with Squidward. SpongeBob and Patrick are almost always their choice of favorite. Yet you often find older fans coming back to the show declaring their allegiance to Squidward. The show didn't change. It stays the same. We change. So in the millions of bikini bottoms lies a further indeterminable number of alterations, as different elements of the show take on a new light as we grow. They are all correct. They are all the bikini bottom that we need at that moment in time, and to tell someone else that their creation is wrong would be as pointless as telling someone that what they see in that cloud is not a dog but a truck. They're both right. It is impossible to be wrong. The oft-forgotten relativist theory of SpongeBob Squarepants Geopolitics. It is impossible to be wrong. All that said, I now know what my vision of Bikini Bottom is, and I'd like to tell you what I see in the clouds. What never sat right with me is that about the idea that Bikini Bottom is an apocalyptic scene is the tone. It's not that the show has never been dark. There's plenty of dark humor in the show, actually, but that the show has always preached optimism. It is a happy show. SpongeBob is a naive character, yes, and sure, Squidward's nihilism becomes more relatable as I grow older, but I don't think that the show is meant to make you agree with Squidward. Remember, nobody wants to be a Squidward. I spent so many unhappy mornings as a child, and so often these unhappy mornings would turn into pleasant evenings as I watched the antics of this little yellow hero, even if it was an episode I had seen countless times before. Everything about the show made me happy, from the iconic music, to its art design, to its jokes, to its general joie de vivre. To twist all this into an image of destruction and chaos may work for some, but in my own interpretation, it cannot be. I agree that the show is set beneath Bikini Atoll, and that Bikini Bottom is most likely the wreckage of the ships that the bomb did destroy. I also agree that some dark backstory exists. I simply think the show is a creation story, not the end of times.